Allahu Akbar. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. استغفر الله استغفر الله استغفر استغفر الله استغفر. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وبعد. Salah is a means of connecting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and therefore we ought to be in our most presentable form. Whenever we come to the masjid, we should be connected to Allah but disconnected from everyone else. We should be presentable before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the previous khatira, we spoke about the importance to ensure that our body is covered. Oftentimes we'll go into sajda and not realize that our underclothing is showing, perhaps even our rear body is showing, which is very embarrassing, something we don't want to do with our friends and our colleagues in our workplace, let alone in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second thing to enhance the quality of our salah and to prevent the disruptance of anyone else's salah is to make sure all our devices are shut off before we come to the masjid. This is something we may not take too important, but one of these days when, subhanAllah, it would even affect me. We're praying salah, it was the third rak'ah a few days ago, and somebody had their ring device at home. When somebody presses the bell, you can hear it on your phone. So for a few consecutive seconds, all I'm hearing is the bell, and I'm starting to forget which rak'ah I'm inside of. So if my salah goes, everybody's salah is going to go as well. And I didn't want to talk about it right after salah so that the person doesn't feel uncomfortable. But this is something we have to be very mindful of. The other day, I went to the doctor and they had to do some tests. So they were taking me inside of this special room. As I was about to enter the room, the doctor, he said to me, "Excuse me, sir, can you check your pockets? Is your phone with you?" And I said, "Yes, my phone is with me." He says, "Listen, this is very important. If your phone is on, the machine is not going to operate. Make sure you turn off your phone right now or you're wasting your time and you're wasting my time." He was so emphatic. I was going to go in for a particular procedure, some testing, and I got so frightened. I knew I turned off my phone, but I opened it and double checked, and I said, "You know what, I'm turning this phone off. I don't know what's going to happen. If it turns on, I'm going to get yelled at by the doctor again." So he told me, make sure your phone is not operating. This is going to be a 20-minute session. If it goes on once, the frequency is going to mess up the entire procedure. And subhanAllah, it got me thinking how serious I became for that one moment, that forget about putting it on silent, my phone was off. Even if 911 called me at that time, it would not work because I'm so scared of what's going to happen. When we come to the masjid, if we cannot put it on silent, we have to turn off our phones. And this is, okay, for me, if my salah is going to be disrupted, that's on to me. But the problem is there's hundreds of other people praying over here. There's somebody leading the salah. The moment that bell goes off, the moment the phone is going off, and for many of us, we leave the phone in the sajda place. So if I'm standing up and I'm thinking to myself, going down there is going to be so embarrassing. Nobody besides the guy on my right and left knows it's my phone, so I'm just going to let it continue ringing. That's a bit unfortunate. So let me ensure when I'm walking inside, if it's fine, no problem. Salah is finished. Salah time is finished, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, whoever called after salah time, so it's not a big problem. Allah yabarik fikum. So, inshallah. But let's do our best. Subhanallah, I remember this is something we all have weakness in, even myself. Sometimes I forget. One day I was leading salah, and I'm in the middle of my salah, and my phone starts ringing. But I don't realize, and that time I had a smartwatch. So what I did was I tried to turn it off with my smartwatch, and I accidentally turned on the phone. And the mic opened, and the person saying, Assalamu alaikum, assalamu alaikum, inside of the salah. And all the musallis are wondering what's going on with this imam. He's giving salah inside of his salah. So we all have this weakness. Even myself, I have this weakness. But for the purposes and the sanctity of the masjid, of the salah, let's just take a quick glance. Let me look at my phone and see, subhanallah, my phone is on, let me just turn it off. Worst case scenario, I have a very important call. I missed that call. I will call back and say, I am sorry, I apologize. Subhanallah, for some people, they should even put on their voicemail that you have reached me, unfortunately, I am not available. Maybe I'm praying salah right now. Please leave a message after the beep. We can do that, and inshallah, it will enhance the quality of my salah and everybody else's salah as well. Salah, our ulama, they used to say, my teacher used to say so beautifully, subhanallah, when a person says Allahu Akbar, why do we raise our hands? Why do we say Allahu Akbar? It's because the dunya is on the back of my hand, and I'm throwing it behind me, and I'm saying Allahu Akbar, and I'm greeting Allah. So I'm throwing it behind me, and I'm greeting Allah. But the moment my phone starts ringing, it's as though I'm getting pulled right back into the dunya, and not only me, everybody else as well. So inshallah, this is not to point fingers at anybody, it's for myself as well. But what can we do to be more mindful of our connection with Allah is when I'm coming, just a simple glance. If I have a tendency to forget, let me just shut off my phone, keep it in my pocket, inshallah I'll turn it on when I leave the masjid. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all tawfiq. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to connect to Allah and disconnect from the dunya when we come into the beautiful masjid. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.